back in February, the Asbury revival broke out, right? And I remember at school, people were talking about it. It was a massive event. And I remember specifically, from what I understand, from what I've heard, is there was a class on campus that was talking about it, um, and they were asking the questions to the professor, like, why can't it happen here? Like, why does it need to stay there? And so the professor was like, why not? You're right. So they went to our school chapel and they just legitimately started praying and crying out to the Lord. And if I'm correct, I remember it was like sometime like middle of the school day, probably maybe right after lunch or something like that. And for whatever reason, only the Lord knows, it slowly people would trickle in, and lo and behold, it started growing and growing and growing. And I remember getting a text like late that night, probably 10, 11 o'clock at least, saying, hey, there's people have been praying in the chapel for the past who knows how long, a few hours. And so I was like, okay, cool. And honestly, I had somewhat of a doubt, thinking, are people just trying to recreate something that's really not of the Lord, or trying to find the balance of, Lord, are you actually in this? Is this really your spirit moving right now? And so me and my sister went ahead and we went, and it was the Lord, is all I can say. And I remember it lasted for about a week at least.
And that's 24/7, just
20,
like at Asbury.
Yeah, 24/7. It literally went all throughout the night, throughout the entire day.
So just in terms of timeline, Asbury, the chapel that went for 2 weeks, that was on February 8th. And at Lee University,
it started around the 12th or 13th, so a few days later.
Yeah.
After like news had really broken out that it was for real at Asbury. And so it happened at Lee, and then I remember by the end of the week, like 3-4 days within it, you couldn't even get into the chapel really, because they had school throughout the entirety of the day, and then when we were done with school, we would after our events we would go to the chapel. And I remember it wasn't even by the end of the week, maybe half students. People were traveling from across the state, families from all the students, and people just even in the city were like, what is going on here?
Wow.
And you could barely even get into the chapel. Upstairs was completely packed. Downstairs, there was literally no real estate within the room.